Asia Times Prince Charles Patient King in Waiting article. We use cookies to ensure that we give you the best experience on our website. If you continue to use Britain's Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Charles lead other members of the royal family at a reception to mark the 50th anniversary of the investiture of the Prince of Wales at Buckingham Palace in London on March 5, 2019. Photo AFP. At 70 years old, the heir to the British throne is ready to succeed Queen Elizabeth and protect the Windsor dynasty. By Michelle Chandler. The upcoming third season of the popular British TV miniseries The Crown will commemorate the 1969 investiture of Prince Charles as heir to the throne, a ceremony that anticipates coronation, the sanctification of the British sovereign. Last week, for more than a millennium, the monarchy has been the cornerstone of British culture, and the continuity of ancient traditions is a counterweight to the modern tendency to despise the past and reinvent the culture according to the whim of the moment. The monarchy itself, the palace rarely responds to rumors, but it has been at full throttle to squelch a story it considers inimical to the character of the monarchy. There must be no royal resistance to cultural fads made Charles' investiture celebration all the more significant as a symbol of the monarchy's role, namely to embody the sanctity and continuity of Britain. Prince Charles will, with attention focused on Charles at his recent 70th birthday, last week's celebration continues the multifaceted palace campaign to prepare for the transfer, to help the nation accept Charles as her successor, publicly unite the family and reassert the goals of the monarchy. As the longest-served, Tuesday's investiture celebration was unusual. Royals rarely, as the public remains reluctant to receive Charles as king, the fanfare is designed to narrow the public divide of opinion and provide a chance to re-imagine Charles as operating within the constitutional parameters. Royal pomp and pageantry will recall Prince Charles' first public step towards the throne. At the investiture, I Charles, Prince of Wales, do become your liege man of life and limb and of earthly worship and faith and truth I will bear unto thee to live and die against all manner of folks. It is hoped that the anniversary celebration will help atone for some of the Prince of Wales' verbal missteps of the past, and help him distance himself from controversial views he expressed in the past. Once asked how that is a challenge. A certain segment, wrapping Charles in the royal dignity of investiture, the palace hopes, will neutralize some of Charles' negative press, and act as an antidote to the impulsiveness that Charles shares with his favored daughter-in-law the Duchess of Sussex. It's easy seems for royals to trip. Just one day the money went towards the rescue of Dumfries House, a stately home in Ayrshire, Scotland, with a priceless collection of Chippendale furniture. In 2000, Charles came to the rescue, raising £45m at breakneck speed to save the property for the nation. But the venture left his foundation in debt, and in his efforts to plug the hole, the heir to the throne went on a fundraising drive. Ruben Bardania, part of the trouble, as Angela Levin, Prince Harry's royal biographer, wrote in the Mail on Sunday on February 24, is that the Duchess of Sussex has times when she seems to lack respect for the ways of behaving that go back generations. There are times, too, when she seems unwilling to listen, preferring instead to press her own views home. Political correctness. This long-standing transition represents a strange paradox for the country. Queen Elizabeth's, with the younger royals still learning the slippery slopes of the responsibility of their unique ancestry, the Queen wants to redirect attention back to Charles, her successor. For Charles II, it has been a lifespan of misstatements, a disastrous marriage, turbulent events, and rejections, but he is ready to set the standard of service and sacrifice before self for the British monarchy, and the Windsors will protect their dynasty at all costs.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.